What's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of life? We have been told what to think and believe as a result of being human, and the cycle continues. We are inadequately prepared to accept the immense responsibility of dealing with freedom. The choices are too overwhelming for us. We desire direction. We crave guidance in thought and action, in our conduct. Say you've identified or established a purpose and a meaning for your life with which to guide you. For how long do you expect these definitions to remain viable? Will they not need to be soon revised? I challenge you to write your own Bible and try adhering to it. You won't succeed, not for long. It would need to be a dynamic document, one which reflects your changing nature, in order for it to be of any use. It cannot be static and relevant to the vitality that characterizes life as it unfolds. From holy books, which you revere and dare not alter or question, you pick and choose what is relevant to your situation and rely on interpretation to this end. Whether or not you realize it, you rely on interpretation. Even with a living teacher, you will need to eventually drop the teacher's name and form in order to progress. The alternative is a stagnant psychodrama of codependency, where the teacher needs the student and the student needs the teacher. A real teacher will release you or leave you once it's time. It's the only way to enable you to grow. Asking what is the purpose of life, what is the meaning of life, is born of a dependency on authority. It's this yearning to be told, to be guided, to be led. It's okay. As a child, it is driven by a need to be certain, to control, to be in control. And this need to be right, this need to be secure, and a need to pin down life to a dependable and reliable formula. It's born of a need to be on the right path, in control, and certain, even in the face of uncertainty. What is the alternative? The alternative is to be sometimes insecure, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes unpredictable, sometimes just depending on whatever level of understanding and wisdom available, and making the best of it. The alternative is acknowledging that some questions will not be adequately answered. Some things aren't for us to know, aren't possible for us to know, aren't really useful for us to know, and aren't necessary for us to know. Knowing the meaning of life and the purpose of life is ultimately of little relevance, considering that no one thus far has provided a satisfactory answer by which everyone can be directing the course of her or his life. And the sooner we're okay with that, the sooner we're okay with not knowing the purpose of life, the sooner we're okay with not knowing the meaning of life, the sooner we can get on with living instead of studying about life, searching for the answer about life, preparing to live life. It's this seeking that keeps you dissatisfied with life, and in many cases wishing for another, better life, later. If your incessant pursuit for these answers, which are ultimately irrelevant to life itself and the living of it, if this pursuit stops, if it ceases, if it loses momentum, if it absolutely drops, consider yourself fortunate. You'll be calm, calmer, grateful, more grateful, and you'll have a greater capacity for sharing your being fearlessly and selflessly without knowing that you're doing so. You'll be calm, grateful, and sharing of your being fearlessly, selflessly with others. But in the meantime, if anyone gives you a purpose or a meaning to life, a one-size-fits-all variety, you won't believe in it unless it matches up to the one you already hold. Let's assume someone gave you the answer to the question, what is the purpose of life? Someone gave you the answer to the question, what is the meaning of life? It would escape you. It would be incomprehensible to you. You would not know what to do with it. It would prove useless. You would discard it. It would be so meaningless. You would only hear and make of it what suits your purpose. We do that with all knowledge that we receive. We only accept what we are willing to appropriate, what we are comfortable accepting. We suppress the inconvenient truths. We discard the incomprehensible truths. We shape the teachings we receive to fit our specifications, our demands. We make them suitable to us. The preoccupation with asking for purpose, for meaning in life is, however, an opportunity for initiating dialogue. And as long as I don't expect to convince you, as long as you don't expect to convince me, as long as I don't expect to be convinced by you, as long as you don't expect to be convinced by me, any answer that arises won't be a problem, especially since the purpose and meaning of life is only the one we already have. We have already convinced ourselves of the meaning, if there is one, and the purpose, if there is one, to life. If you doubt this, consider how you would respond if someone approached you with 150 varieties of answers to the question. You certainly wouldn't agree with all of them. You've already made up your mind. But if you still believe that you want to know what the purpose of life is, if you still want to believe that you want to know what the purpose of life and the meaning of life is, go do this. Go find a lemon tree and ask. It will tell you. Just listen. Just listen.